the queen, Abella. Is she there?
Hold on one second. Okay, I'm here.
Hey, here we go. All right, she's here, the legendary Abella Danger. Abella, how you doing?
I'm doing really good, and I hope you guys are doing good, and I hope you're staying safe, and
yeah, you're doing better than us already because you're down in Miami and we're stuck up in the snow in New York, but I can see the sun shining over there. I'm jealous. It's not great up here, but you're a ray of sunshine to us. I have been, you were saying, you're like, Kate, I feel like I know you a little bit because I've been creepily chirping you on Twitter from time to time. I respond to her posts. I've blogged about her before, but I'm a big fan. I can't help it.
I definitely read that blog post, which was about our Twitter interaction, I believe.
Yeah.
That's the creepiest way you can possibly blog about a Twitter interaction.
Yeah.
It was good though. It was good. I liked it. I was like, this girl's funny. I'll be looking at your post. Like, you're cool.
Thank you. Vice versa. So
do you have any like compliments to say about me before we get going, or just Kate pretty much, or?
We're just not Twitter friends yet, but we'll
okay. All right. Sick.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's just get right into it. So everyone knows who you are, obviously. Abella Danger, the porn star. I feel like a lot of people don't know how you got into the industry. So like, can you tell us a little bit about when you got into the industry and how you got into it?
Yeah, sure. It's kind of surprising that people don't know because I feel like that's like the most asked question that I get. And I was dating a porn star when I was 18. And you know, he was already obviously in porn, and after a few months he said, why don't you try it? You know, you're so good at sex, like you might as well do it. And I was like, no, like, and obviously, you know, I was really scared about, you know, like what my parents would say or my friends, or I mean society in general. So I like held out for such a long time, and then one day I was like outside of a Subway, and I was just like, you know what, I want to do it. And he like contacted Bang Bros the next day. And then I shot my first 2 scenes, like 2 days in a row. And I loved it instantly. And I was like, that's it. Like, this is what I'm going to do. And then, yeah, that's that.
And what is it that you loved about it so immediately? Because I feel like a lot of people would be like, oh God, like me, I've said it before on here. The last thing the world needs is a clear shot of my asshole. But like, I'm so self-conscious. I'm so like, what was it that you were like, this is it. I love it.
Yeah, well, I definitely was really self-conscious too. And actually I wasn't shy about showing any of my body except my butthole. I thought it was so weird. The director, I'll never forget, he was like, okay, you know, bend over. And I'm like, bending over, like showing you my butt. And he's like, okay, now spread. Take it to your butthole. And I was like, what? Excuse me? Like, oh my God. So that was something that was like weird. But it was also like, I don't know, I loved it instantly because number one, the guy that I shot my first 2 scenes with was my boyfriend at the time. So I was already having sex with him, you know, it wasn't like my first time meeting him or anything. Like I knew it was just like having sex with my boyfriend. And then, so then after I shot my first 2 scenes, I just started to like dive into like the world of porn and how many different kinds of porn there is. And I was just like, oh my God, I want to try all of this. Like I want to do everything. And then so it kind of was like a path to like sexual exploration, but like in a safe environment, you know.
And did you come from a background that was already like sexual empowerment, be yourself, do you, or was this something like you had to branch out and be like, sorry, everybody, this is me?
Well, when I was younger, and I'll never forget like this defining moment for me where that like changed. When I was younger, I didn't feel like, and I'm talking younger, like, you know, 17, 8, all the way up to like 20, I would say. I was like, and I'm so ashamed, but I was like, I don't feel like I need to be a feminist because I feel like as a woman I have rights. Like I'm not a victim. And I'll never forget this woman. She's a porn director. Actually, I was telling her this on set, and she was like, you don't understand how many women came before you that fought to give you the rights that you have today. That's why you don't feel the need to be a feminist, but it's because of them. So you should continue fighting this fight. And ever since then, I've just kind of like been like super like women empowerment and like, you know, exploring like your sexuality and doing everything men do and not like feeling like you're gonna get judged like or anything like that.
Exactly, doing it shamelessly and being like, we all feel this way. I'm just living it. I just get to be out in the open about it.
How old were you when you first started? Like when was that first scene with your boyfriend?
I I was like 4 months away from being 19, which sounds crazy because I'm 25 now, and I'm like, oh my god, I was so young, and it's crazy to me that you can shoot porn,
Right.
you can like drink alcohol.
It is nuts, but like,
you can go to war, shoot porn, buy it, but you can't go to the bar.
Lottery tickets. But like, what was it like? What was the reaction from like family and friends when they find out? Did they have like an inkling that you might be like a freak, or was this like completely out of the blue?
Okay, so the first person to find out was my sister. None of my friends were shocked because I was always very like sexually like free. Like I was always like I didn't care about my body count, like which is like what me and my friends would call how many people we had sex with. And a lot of girls, like I have friends that even to this day, so I'm still close with like all my like non-porn friends that have like had sex with less than 10 guys. But like when I was 18, I had already had sex with 18 guys or so. Like, you know, like,
right.
I never cared. But so they were never surprised. But my sister was like, oh my God, like I knew you were crazy. I didn't know you were this crazy. And then I was terrified of telling my mom. And I was never gonna tell her. And then one day I was shooting with Manuel Ferrara and I was telling him how terrified I was of her finding out. And he was like, let me tell you, like my mom found out and she didn't find out from me. And that's one thing that I'll never get back. And I wish I would have been the one to tell her. So like, you have to tell her. So that kind of like was like, okay, no, I can't let her find out. I have to tell her. So when I came back home from LA to visit for the holidays, I told her and she was just like, you know, sad and like crying and like, why? And I was just like, I love it. Like, I'm just trying to, you know, like any parent, like if your parent, you know, if you tell them you're like going into porn, I think it would be a little weird if they were like,
right.
Yeah.
Like obviously it's a lot.
It's gotta marinate. It's gotta marinate.
Yeah, they're parents, so like they're obviously like gonna support you, and you know, I'm sure my mom, you know, not wishes, but like would prefer if I was like so. But like she's not like ashamed of me or anything like that. Like,
that's
like,
awesome.
And like you mentioned. Sorry to cut you off. And like you mentioned, you won't ever get that back. Like the guy said, like you have to tell her that you're doing porn on your terms.
yeah.
Like that's a theme with like coming out too. It's like you want to come out to your parents like on your terms. Did you come out to your parents as bisexual before you were doing porn? Like what was that like?
No, I told my mom I have a really good memory. I was like 13 and so in middle school, like up until like high school, I knew I liked girls, like since I could remember. But in middle school, especially, like elementary school, boys made me nervous, and I didn't like really like them. But in middle school, I was just like, that's it. Like I only like girls, and I just told my mom, I was like, Mom, I like girls. Like I'm a lesbian, and she was like, okay, it's fine. It's just a phase. Like she really didn't believe me, and my mom's honestly always like cool with like, you know, people's sexuality. Like her hairdresser was a trans woman, like is a trans woman. So like, but she didn't really think it was like, oh, you're a lesbian, you know, but then years went on and she was like, okay, you definitely like girls, but you know, but she's never like felt the need for me to like label. And she was always really accepting. So I'm really lucky about it. And like everyone in my family was always really accepting of like my sexuality.
So I feel like you're like, it's unique for like someone in porn at least to not be gay for pay. Like you are actually like into like girls and like some gay male porn stars are gay for pay. Like, has that helped you at all in the industry? Like, or do you feel like because it's just so based on sex, like actual sex, like your sexuality isn't even something that's brought up?
No, there's definitely something that like I get a lot like from my girl fans. Like they'll be like, I love watching your lesbian scenes. Like you look like you're really into it. And I'm like, well, that's because I am into it. Like I actually do like girls. And people will ask me a lot, like, what's your worst scene ever? Thinking that it would be something really intense, like a DP or something, or like something crazy. And I'm like, no, the worst scene was this one girl who was literally the worst person I've ever had sex with in my life. And I was like, why do you do this? You do not like girls. Like that was not my most proud moment on set, because I just literally stopped and I was like, why the fuck are you here? Like you hate this. I was so mad because it was just the worst sex I could ever have. Like, why are you like, I wouldn't have sex with anyone I didn't want to have sex with. Like, I just don't get it. But it exists a lot. People will, you know, be gay for pay. So
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't.
And
You can't fake it.
you're right. Like the fans and the people who follow and watch this stuff, we're not idiots. Like you can tell when somebody's faking the funk or when somebody's actually into it. And the only stuff that works for me is when I can tell like they're actually into it. She's actually enjoying that right now. Otherwise I'm like, next. I can't stand it.
Yeah. I watch porn too, and I can tell if someone's not into it, and I'll just change it because I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna get off to this. Like I can, but I really don't.
You prefer guys or girls on camera, like girl on girl scene or guy on guy scene?
I always get asked this, and it's literally so you basically would have to ask me Manuel Ferrara or Phoenix Marie or this specific girl or this specific guy, because you can't make that generalization because some guys fucking suck to shoot with. I can't tell you how many guys I have on my no list. A no list is a list of performers you will not work with. I can't tell you how many guys I have on that list that I'm like, no, I will not shoot with you.
Why? Like, what kind of stuff makes you not want to shoot with them?
They like either bore me to death. You can't keep your dick hard. Mostly those two reasons. You bore me to death. You literally just are boring.
Is that Are you like picky though? Like, is that a normal thing for porn or like for female porn stars? Is that like normal, or are some girls like if they're not as famous as you, like I'll fuck anyone, but for you it's like nope.
No, everyone pretty much has like a no list. But when I say a lot, I mean I think I would say like 5 guys on my no list, but I have like just like 2 girls that were just really bad. I get really lucky because I am contracted to Brazzers that they're also very particular with who they shoot. But like before my contract, I was working for a lot of other different companies, and like thankfully Brazzers, they're size queens like me. Like they love big dicks and they love so it's been years since I've worked with a guy that I didn't like, but I'll give them one shot. And then, because, guys have reputations and stuff, and I'll still try them. And then if they're bad, I'll be like, okay. And then I'll be like, maybe they're having a bad day. And I'll give them another shot. And then if it's still like bad and boring, I'm like, okay, like I tried. Like I really tried.
And yeah,
go ahead.
I too had a no list in college, but it was against me. It was the guys' rugby team said no more of that girl. But I was wondering too, so you said you've known since like middle school that you're bisexual, that you love both.
Since elementary, like I liked girls before I liked boys. Like my first kiss was a girl. It was like in first grade. Like I liked girls and then I liked boys. But boys like really grossed me out for the majority of my childhood. Like I didn't want to know what a penis looked like. I don't know.
So you've just always known, like it's just one of those things. And I was wondering, is it difficult? Like, how is it first you were dating someone who got you into porn and that kind of made it more comfortable probably because you said your first porn was with this boyfriend that you were seeing. Do you mostly only date people within the industry? Is it hard to date people out of the industry?
No, that was the only person I dated in the industry. And then my last relationship was a girl that I dated in middle school. So we started dating when I was going into 8th grade and she was going into 9th grade. And we dated for like a year and a half.
Were you out?
What?
Were you like out?
Yeah, my mom knew, but her mom didn't know. Her mom didn't want her to be gay. We were neighbors. And so then her mom found out and her mom forbid us from seeing each other. So we would have to so I would write down a really long note. It was like pages long, like back to front. And I would give it to my friend. And my friend would give it to her. And then she would write me one. And we would talk about how we were like Juliet and Juliet. Because it was like we were forbidden from seeing each other because of her mom. So we always said when we're older, maybe like when we're older one day. And then we started being friends again when I was 21. And then she wanted to move to LA and I was living in LA. She came to LA and she was living with me. And then we started dating again and we dated again for almost 3 years. And then we like officially broke up like last year in May.
Oh shit. So you dated like this girl because that was one of my questions. I was like, have you only ever dated? Because I feel like for a lot of bisexual people, it's like you're bisexual, but like you typically only date, like for a lot of bisexual guys, they'll only date girls, but like they'll fuck guys and hook up with guys. So you've like had serious relationships with both sexes.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the most, like, she was my first like love. Like, you know, she was like,
She was that.
I don't know, I'm getting like emotional.
No, it's
But hold on.
no, it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, it's because we're not like friends right now. So,
It's hard.
but you know, she was my first like love, and that happened like, you know, that happened when we were really young. So I feel like there was no like what your job is or like how much money you have or your possession. You really just like that kind of young love is really like pure because you like the person for the person, you know. And then we got back together again when we were older. And it didn't work out, but I love her, and like I definitely wish her like the best, you know, like in life and stuff. We're just not friends right now, so it's like a little like emotional.
Yeah.
But she's an amazing person. Like I definitely have like nothing bad to say about her.
And you know what else
Yeah.
it is, other than it being like pure, like you said, for a gay person, it's very rare because a lot of gay people, like you're lucky enough to have come out at 13, like you did as bisexual and have that young love and date someone. For a lot of gay people who are in the closet, they're in the closet pretending to like someone that they don't until they're in their fucking 20s, their
Yeah,
late teens. So like they get fucked over out of that like young love. So it may be like painful now, obviously, because you love this girl, but like the fact that you were able to experience that like pureness is, I mean, you clearly love her. I mean,
Yeah.
still,
I
so
love her, like I'm not in love with her anymore, but like I love her like family, and I definitely hope that one day we can like be friends again, you know, like just be friends because that like I feel like she like, you know, I've known her my whole life. I've known her over 10 years now. So I definitely hope, you know, one day we could be friends again because I definitely care about her. But yeah, I agree that a lot of people definitely had to stay in the closet for so long that they didn't get to experience any kind of young love like that. So I definitely am.
you know what you know what I'm interested to hear about is like, has anyone from you're famous, like you're a humongous you're a no no but you're what I'm my point that I'm getting to is like you're a humongous famous porn star who happens to be gay. Has anyone like reached out to you, like any prominent LGBTQ like figures for you to like get involved in advocacy? Because I'm not like a famous guy by any means, but I get reached out to all the time, just like be a voice, do this, do that. And I'm curious if like,
Do you get pressured at all
yeah,
to be?
or are they like, or do they want nothing to do with you because of your job?
I've never been like outwardly like asked to be an advocate, but I also feel like it's because I definitely am an advocate. Like throughout the year, like I advocate for LGBTQ, especially for the Trans Lives Matter movement, for the Black Lives Matter. I'm always an advocate without really being asked to. Even like I mean, as far back as I can think, even when I lived in LA, I would go to do the AIDS walk every single year. Like, so I guess people see that, and I mean, no one has ever. But now I'm like, why didn't they ask? They should.
No.
Believe me, it's better that they don't. Do you have a lot of gay friends, like gay guy friends or girlfriends? Or are you like,
So my best friend is a gay boy, and his name is Liam Riley. And
porn, right? Liam, oh, I've seen his work. Yes.
I'm totally gonna tell him. He just left today to go to, last night to go to LA, and I'm gonna meet him there tomorrow. He's also my assistant. We've been best friends for like 6 years. And I mean, yeah, I have gay friends, but he's definitely number one because he's my best friend. And then I have another gay best friend, but it's very hard for us to be best friends right now because he's stuck in New Zealand. But those are my two gay besties, and they're like the world.
And is it hard? It sounds like you've stayed super grounded because even outside the porn world, you are in music videos, and I saw like different spreads in magazines and modeling, all this other stuff you have. And also you're producing and directing, like you have so many other things that you're doing too. Is it hard to stay grounded? It sounds pretty cool. Like you're like, oh, I'm still friends with all my high school friends. I'm still friends with whatever. Has that kind of been difficult? And is it getting harder or?
Oh my God, no, like literally all I do is only hang out with like all my close circle of friends, aside from Liam that I met like 6 years ago, and like Seb, like my close circle of friends, they're all like middle school and high school friends. Like
Yeah.
right now at my house is my friend Tiffany, who I've known since I was in ninth grade. My mom's somewhere around the house. But I like to be close to, and my sister's on her way actually. But I like to like, my closest friends are all friends that knew me from before, because I don't know, I just feel like those connections are like more like genuine in a sense. Like they just knew me from when we were little, like, and we just have so many memories together that I'm like, we're gonna be friends forever, like forever, forever.
I feel like that's me too. Like all my closest buddies are like kids from home. Like kids
Yeah.
I would hang out in like the electrical box with, like at the end of the driveway kind of deal. Like college friends, like, okay. But like middle school and stuff, elementary kids you grew up with, that's where it's at.
But is that common, like in the industry? Like, I feel like here it's
people probably leave you, right? Like, I feel like people will be like, "Oh, I'm leaving. I don't want to be friends with her anymore because she's doing this." Or is that
yeah, that never happened to me. No one ever stopped being my friend because I started doing porn ever. Never, ever. And I'm still like really good friends with my two best friends from elementary school. Like we'll hang out frequently. Like, and no one ever, thank goodness, like no one was ever like, I'm not gonna be friends with you anymore.
That's such a good experience. Yeah. Wait, what were you gonna say, Kate? You had something.
Well, this was kind of a bit of a different track, but just in sex and sexuality, you were always a pretty sexual person. It sounds like always pretty open, and like your boyfriend at 18 was like, "You're fucking good at sex. You're good." And
so good, you should do porn.
Yeah, you're so good, you should do porn. And you're 25 now. You've been doing this for a few years. It's like creatively too. It's a creative profession. Like, do you find yourself hitting a wall, and does it get like harder and harder to stay into it? Or how do you keep things creative in the bedroom while it's also your job kind of thing?
You know, like you really can't reinvent the wheel. Like,
yeah.
So I definitely just have like my favorites that I love to shoot with.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally don't care. Like I'll tell Brazzers, like I need one J-Max scene a month. Like, so I just try to just work with my favorites as much as possible. And then it's always fun. Like it really doesn't get old. And then it's like, you kind of have like this, like boyfriend that you see like once a month that you have amazing sex with, and you don't have to talk to them or text them or do anything for them, and it's really stress-free.
Yeah, just good sex. And you were saying too in the beginning, you're like, oh, I want to try this and this and this and this. Like you're looking at a box of chocolates. Has there been anything that surprised you, like in terms of like genre, I guess, that like, wow, I actually was really into that, or not, like, you know, BDSM turns out not so much my thing, or this is my thing, or
oh, I loved BDSM. So that was one thing that like to this day, it's one of the best experiences of my life. I would spend every birthday at King purposely for like 3 days in a row, just like getting my ass beat. Like I can go into how much I love BDSM and why. There's like a very logical reason for that, but the one so I can't say that there was anything that I tried that I didn't like, but there's something that I would shoot that I was just like, I didn't even think about it. Like I didn't think about it being something that I wanted to try. I didn't even know that it existed. And when I did it, I was like, what? Which was cuckold scenes. I was like, what is this? Like, it was just so interesting to me that was like a genre, that it is a genre of porn where you're like having sex with a guy and there's a guy in the corner just sitting there watching. It's just, to this day, I know we make it because there's people there that really love it in the world. So we have to cater to them, but I don't know.
You're like, you do you, whatever gets you.
Abella Danger, not a cuck.
Not a cuck, not into the cuck.
Yeah, and I didn't know that it existed prior to shooting it, so I was just like, what? Like, what is? I was prepared for everything else. Like,
you're getting ready to shoot, and you're like, wait, who's this guy over here? oh, that's what it means.
Yeah, they told me a couple days before you're shooting a cuckold scene. And I was like, what is this? And I started looking it up and I was like, what is this? Like, I had seen everything. I was, you know, how they've been like, you have a double anal scene. I'll be like, oh yeah, that's cool. That's cool. But I was like, cuckold, like what's a cuckold? Like even the word itself, I was like, what?
Yeah.
That's so funny. We got a guy here who's a cuck. His name is Jack Mack. We'll have to introduce you to him sometime.
He's a delight.
Please introduce me.
You have like, it sounds like your experience overall has been like pretty good, but I feel like that's definitely not typical for people who like get into your industry. Has there like, what have the hardships been? Like, have there ever been any like down times or times you've been like, what the fuck am I doing?
No, dude, like honestly, I always wonder because, just like in Hollywood, there was Me Too movement, there was definitely one in porn as well. And I heard all these crazy stories and I really empathized with these men and women that went through these scenarios because, it's just like no one deserves to ever be taken advantage of. But I've never ever had any situation where I've felt, like taken. I've never felt anything. I don't know. People must be really afraid of me or something.
No, that's fucking great. I didn't mean like anyone like taking advantage or anything like that. I was just like, in general, has ever been like any time
No
where
one
you're
has
like,
ever
oh,
been like
lol.
mean. No one has ever been like, you know, like I've never had any like bad experience except for like the one. I mean, it's annoying if like a guy can't get his dick hard or he's boring. Like that's like the one thing. Like, because you obviously want to shoot a really good sex scene. Like I love scripts. I love making everything come to life. And then you shoot this amazing intro, and then you get to the sex part, and then it's like boring. Like that definitely makes the 30 minutes go a lot slower for me. Like that's like the one thing, but everything else is like so fun.
Does
Like
that
Yeah.
happen a lot when guys can't get hard? What's the thing that they inject in the dick? Like they stick a needle in the dick and shoot up with something. You know what I'm talking about? Lisa Ann was telling us about that.
there are some guys that do that, but most of the guys that I know like don't. And since I'm contracted to Brazzers, I work with all the male contract stars a lot, and I know none of them do it. But fudge, I'm trying to think of what it's called. I definitely known of a guy that did it because he like posted on Twitter how he injected it wrong and something ruptured and he like had to go to the emergency room and he actually
God.
posted a picture of it and it was really disturbing. But I've never actually been on set with someone like I've never seen it.
You've
So
never seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fucking weird if someone shoots their fucking dick
Yeah.
up. Wait,
Yeah.
but you're contracted to Brazzers, so does that mean you can't have any? That means you can't have OnlyFans?
Yes, I can have OnlyFans. I don't post porn on OnlyFans though. I only post like exclusive nude photos that I don't post anywhere else. So I don't post them on Twitter. I don't post them obviously on Instagram. So I'll do like photo shoot days where I take a lot of like really sexy nude photos and they're exclusive to my OnlyFans. But I don't post any porn on there because I just feel like my loyalty is with Brazzers. So like I want Brazzers and Pornhub and Brazzers is the same company. They're both MindGeek. So I feel like my loyalty is like with them porn wise. So I try to keep those avenues separate. So yeah.
And final one from me, has it been really rewarding in the sense of, because it's not just porn, like obviously it's really hard to break through in any kind of media realm, but you have broken through and you are like a top name that everybody knows.
Everyone.
Like on The Office, like, oh, Abella's coming through. You're the first one to hit 1 million views here at Barstool, which is like a big deal.
I checked the other day, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I checked the other day on my Answer the Internet question. One was like 6.7, the other one's like 6.8. I was like, what? Like, and those are so fun. I really want to do a part 3 because those questions are just like outrageous. Like I've never been asked.
Oh yeah.
Questions.
It's ridiculous. And well, I'm sure you're welcome back anytime you want to come through. But people clearly, it's not just the porn, like people clearly like you for you and your personality and you're like, so have you found it super rewarding? Like, do you get called out in the street now? Like, oh shit, it's Abella. Like, do you like, how's the fame been?
So I definitely, not thankfully, I guess, but because of masks.
The masks, yeah.
Definitely lowered it a lot, but you know what? People still recognize me with masks on. They'll still ask me for pictures. Like, I definitely have to be at public places like the mall and stuff, but like pre-mask era, like it was bad. Like,
yeah,
it's definitely bad. You know, the one person comes and then it's just a bunch of people, like, and then, or I'll just post that like I'm at a certain like place and then people just,
show up.
That's so crazy.
It bothered me. Everyone's super nice, so I'll like take a picture with anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like really think that doing porn would like make you famous because I only knew of like one porn star before porn. I knew about 2 porn stars, but I guess with social media and stuff like that, like a lot of people won't even know me from porn. They'll be like, oh, I know you from Instagram, like I know you from Danger She Wrote, or like, so I think that's kind of like
Yeah.
the new wave, people just know you from social media.
Yeah.
Was there a moment where you were like, oh fuck, like I'm famous? Like you were like maybe doing porn and all of a sudden it was like, wait a second, like what? Like when I did a while back, I went to the Gay Porn Awards with Asa Akira used to work here.
Yeah. Which one did you go?
What's that?
Which one did you go to?
In New York in 2019 with Asa Akira.
Nice.
It was so much fun. But like I didn't know who. To me, like Asa was just like the girl who I shared a desk with. Like this is my friend Asa. Like we have sushi on Wednesdays, and like we walked into that place, and you would have thought it was like Tom fucking Cruise walking down this red carpet.
Yeah.
We got out of the car, and it was like cameras, people yelling her name. I'm in like a ratty old t-shirt. I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now?
Yeah.
So I was like, is there ever been that moment for you where it's like, maybe it's at the AVNs where you're walking around and like, you're like, okay, I'm kind of like the top bitch here at this thing, or it's just been like a gradual slow buildup, it sounds like.
By the way, I love Asa. I used to spend every Thanksgiving with her. We're both girls, so
She's the best.
Yeah, I love her so much. I mean, definitely at conventions, like, you know, I guess one moment that I just saw growth was when my first convention versus a year later, I had like the longest line at the convention, and I was like, oh shit, like I have the longest line, so the most people are here to see me. But just because you're popular like in porn doesn't make you like famous. And I really don't think that I'm famous. Like I really don't. There's a lot of like actually famous people in the world, and I don't like consider myself like one of them. Like I think of like, yeah, I guess I'm like a social media person, but like
yeah,
I'm a huge movie buff, so I think of like actors that are like on the big screen as famous, and like I don't know.
Do you feel like because like you are famous on social media, like Brazzers had to have given you a massive contract? Do you feel like you're missing out on OnlyFans? Like, are there times where you're like, well, I guess because you're posting exclusive nudes, like you're getting that money anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. I answered my own question.
And I just love Brazzers. Like I have such loyalty to, because they like since day one, like, you know, from day one, I was like, that was really the only porn company that I knew about was Brazzers. And they were like like, you know, like it was like the best. So like I knew when I got into porn, like I want to shoot my first anal for Brazzers, and like, and then I would get to know all the people that work for Brazzers like throughout the years, and I'm like, why is everyone so nice? It's because they're Canadian.
Uncut.
The secret to Brazzers unleashed.
Yeah, and I was just like, I really want to just like be a part of like your guys' like family, and they're the ones that gave me the opportunity to like produce and direct, and they've just done so much for me. Like I love them. Like they're such cool people. Like them and Pornhub, like they're dope. Like.
Yeah, ton of awesome opportunities, it sounds like.
Cool, but yeah.
That's amazing. You know what I was thinking of when we were sitting here? I'm 31. I'm too old to get into porn, right?
No,
like what's the
you're never
barrier?
too
Like
old.
what's the barrier? I'd be a DILF. Oh my
Yes.
God, I'd be a DILF. What's like the barrier of entry for like girls? Like I get it. Like you have like the look like in porn, like you're really good at sex. I feel like to be a gay porn star, you have to be like either super twinky or like jacked, or it's like,
wow, you have to be, I think gay porn stars are so much harder than the straight male porn stars. Like in my opinion, and they're just so much hotter. But then I'll talk to the gay porn stars and they'll be like, no, the straight boys are hotter. So it's so funny. But I feel like the gay porn stars are definitely way more like shredded muscle wise. Like they have way more muscles than like the dad bod is definitely more common in like the straight porn. But we love a good dad bod. Like
I have to have sex with a woman is what you're telling me?
Oh, you'd crush.
That's fucking awesome. All right. Well, why don't you just let Liam Riley know that like if he wants like someone new for a scene or if he's bored, like I'm here. Maybe we could do that.
Oh my God, I'm literally gonna text him right after this. Like,
we got to get him in for an Answer the Internet.
I know.
Liam Riley and Abella Danger break the internet. We get the gay crossover.
Yes, like me and him are literally the same person, and like it's so funny. The other day, someone was like, "Why do I feel like you guys are turning into the same person?" And I was like, "We are, we are." So
I love it so much. Well, I think I'm trying to think. Like, do you have any advice for? We're gonna do a rapid fire round of questions after this, if you're cool with it. And
Sure.
then before we get to that, do you have any advice for like a young girl like yourself, say, who had just come out, maybe they're thinking about getting into porn, maybe they're not. And this could be advice about getting into the industry. This could be advice about just feeling comfortable in your own skin as a bisexual woman. It can be anything at all. But if you could tell your younger self, a piece of advice, what would it be? I guess that's my question.
It's really hard for me to like put out advice because I was so lucky to like have such an accepting mom. But I mean, even if you do have conservative parents and you're like terrified to tell them, my one advice would be to surround yourself with friends that are your age that don't care about what your sexuality is, because that's something that was really important to me. Because in middle school, I didn't have a lot of friends in my middle school. Everyone made fun of me for being a lesbian. But then I had my friends that it was like the neighborhood kids, and they all accepted me, and we accepted each other for being whatever we were. So and that like made it so much better. That took away all the bad that I was going through. Like all those mean kids would like disappear when I was around my friends that didn't judge me. So just definitely if you're like going through, figuring out your sexuality and like trying to come out, just make sure that your friends, even without telling them that you're bi or something, try to get a feel for how would they feel having a friend that was part of the LGBTQ community, or, like make sure that you're around people that don't like pass judgment just because of who you're attracted to, because you really can't control that.
I love that. And I think our listeners will love that too. Like I get so many DMs from kids who are like, I'm figuring out, if I'm coming out or what to do and this and that. So I'm sure coming from like you, it's going to mean a lot, especially to girls too. Cause I cater to I'm supposed to cater to guys. Like I don't talk about lesbians a lot. So I'm sure you get DMs and stuff. So that's a important piece of advice.
You can kind of build your own family and find people who there's people out there who will support you no matter what. Surround yourself with those people and tell the other people either come around or don't. That's on them. But yeah, you're right. You pick your family sometimes if you have to.
Find a family that you choose for sure.
Yeah.
So if your skinny family isn't going to be accepting, find those friends and hold on to them, because they'll always be there for you. I mean, my friend, God bless them, because
also in your face to all the losers who were hating on you back then.
Them.
I bet they're feeling real silly right about now, looking at your incredible success.
I confronted a few girls. Like there was this one girl, she would bully the fuck out of me in middle school, and I would still try so nice to make her be my friend, and I would try so hard to be nice to her, and her sister made my life a living hell. And a few years ago,
I love this already so much.
Yeah.
I took her to dinner, and I was like, you bullied the fuck out of me in middle school. And she was like, no. And I was like, yeah, you made my life a living hell, and I want to let you know that's not okay. And if you have a kid, you're gonna wish they didn't have someone in their class like you. So it actually felt good to like confront one of my bullies growing up.
Yeah, wow. Was she receptive to it? Was she like, yeah, you're right. Okay.
I don't know, but I don't know. I think she was mostly like in denial, honestly. But I tried to make it clear to her, but I don't really care if she got the point. Like, I let her decide. So
there you go.
Good for you.
I love it.
How so before we get to the rapid fire round of questions, is there like any end in sight for your career in porn? Like what's next? Do you want to retire? Do you want to renew your contract? Do more social media? Get involved with like, traditional media, directing, anything?
So right now I'm not shooting as often as I would be because of the pandemic. I feel like we're stricter than Hollywood right now, like with mainstream, with like COVID protocols. That's why I started a YouTube channel. Just out of boredom. And I like put out my first video ever and people are loving it. But and then I just focused on shooting for OnlyFans, and then for Brazzers made like a version of OnlyFans called Brazzers Plus. So I shoot a lot of content for that as well. And then definitely one day down the line, like Ruth Bader Ginsburg is like my role model, like what she was. And she's actually the reason I'm like, aside from the director that I spoke about that taught me about why being a feminist is important, I did so much research on Ruth Bader Ginsburg after that. And I definitely would love to go to law school one day. My ex-stepdad, he's a tax attorney, and he just became one like in his 40s, so it's never too late to like do whatever you want to do. So yeah, there's a lot of things that I want to do with my life.
And you're young and you got money, so you're going to be able to do them. You know what I mean?
If I go to law school, I definitely won't have any student loans. That's for sure.
Exactly.
Not a lot of people can say that.
Get out of that. Once you're done with your Brazzers contract, a week of OnlyFans will pay for your law school. So you'll be all set.
Oh, I'm never going to be done with my Brazzers contract. I just renewed it. Like,
Yeah.
let's go.
How long is it?
We renew it per year.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's good. Leave some flexibility anyway. You know what I mean?
And we set the terms, you know, it's definitely like a discussion. It's not like here, like sign it. Like we definitely go back and forth and like figure out what works best for both of us. It's very much like an athlete, like signing to like a team. Like,
yeah.
That's fucking awesome. Well,
Canadian.
Yeah,
it explains so much.
A Canadian way of negotiating is like a friendly discussion. I feel like if you're in like an LA based company, they'd just be like trying to screw you over. But let's do this rapid fire round of questions. Abella Danger, are you ready for your rapid fire questions?
Sure.
Kate, kick it off.
All right. Do you require anything in your green room? Is there anything specific like brown M&Ms only or this or that?
Definitely. I definitely, besides, Pedialyte. I need Pedialyte because I shoot a lot of squirt scenes.
Nice. You got to stay hydrated. Speaking of favorite junk food.
Cheetos hot fries, I guess.
Love it. One celebrity who's not in the industry who you'd love to shoot a scene with.
I don't want to say because I've had sex with them in real life.
Oh no. All right, let's do the next one.
Most embarrassing, funniest moment on set.
There's so many. Oh my God. I don't know. I don't know. I can't really name one.
But you keep a good sense of humor. There's usually a lot of laughter on sets. Is that fair to say?
Oh, okay. So I was shooting a squirt scene. And I was purposely aiming, my squirt can go like 10 feet, like literally shooting the air, and I aimed towards the director and it literally flew up and landed like onto his lap. Like it like flew into the air and landed onto his lap and everyone was cracking up. Like we literally had to keep stopping because the directors just kept laughing. And then the PA one time, he was reaching into the room really quick to grab an apple box, and as his head went in, you just see my skirt go and he like hardly missed it. So I was just like trying to like get everyone that day, which I totally did. It was just really funny.
Classic prank.
Everyone beware. Do you have a hidden talent? Something people don't know about you?
I'm really good at trivia.
Okay.
Oh, we got to get you on the trivia show we have here.
Yeah, we have a trivia show here.
Wait,
too.
You should be on our trip. Me and Kevin have a trivia team. We just started, and it's on a show.
I'll whoop your butt. I play one on the PS5, and I fucking always win. I stay winning on that shit.
All right, we're adding you to that.
On the PS5 yet? The trivia one on that, it's really good. If you haven't, like,
I got to check it out. We have a PS5 here.
Noted. You get a limitless shopping spree in any store or brand. What's like your go-to? I love this right now. What is it?
Balenciaga.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Solid answer.
I was going to say Target.
Mine is Kohl's. Key to a great butt. What's the key to a great butt? I need help.
Working out with a lot of heavy weights and eating good, like not doing a lot of cardio because it's going to make you too skinny.
There you go.
Oh, and what was the last one we had on there? Hold on. It was, this is one that you I think you just chickened out and asking this, didn't you? I was like, you chickened out.
I see myself in the reflection.
All right. Key to a great butt. You can only hook up with one person for the rest of your life. Kate or myself, who are you choosing?
It's my side profile that gets
I think I'm going to hook up with Kate. Because with Kate, I'll have, we can use strap-ons, we can have lesbian sex, we can just do more, we can eat each other out. Like, I'll get tired of just dick. Like, I need pussy, but with her, I'll have pussy and dick.
That's a good point. Also, I don't know how to squirt, but it sounds like you are the queen of it.
Let's go.
Yeah, so that would be the goal for 2021. Noted. Take that, loser.
That's incredible. Well, Abella, thank you so much for coming on. I feel like we covered a lot of ground here. Yeah. We talked about the industry. We talked about like your sexuality. And that's really the reason that I wanted you on here, because like our listeners are going to love to hear from like a strong, powerful, rich, famous lesbian. And they want to hear about her experience and they want to hear about how you've handled things. And I just feel like in general, just from everything we've seen, at least with your interaction in Barstool and outside, you've carried yourself with such grace and you're such a role model. So we love you on Out and About. Everyone at Barstool loves you. So
yeah,
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I love everyone at Barstool too. And I think you guys think higher of me than I think of myself. Like, I'm really just like, so thanks. And thanks for having me. Like, this was honestly really fun and the time like flew by. So I'm glad I was here.